For those of you that don't know, that piece we decided on like last week that we're going to do it and like a full run through. And it's been really fun to like piece it together step by step. When Borodin first wrote that piece, he wrote it for the current Russian Tsar of that time as his conquest throughout Central Asia, into the steppes, into those nomadic areas. Nowadays, we don't have as many nomadic tribes, but back then there was a lot of nomadic tribes and like gypsy groups, and very exotic. And this piece is like a piece about this gypsy group going through like a town. And here at the beginning, you hear it like far away in the distance. And in the steppes, you have this very vast like grasslands. And you can really see them really far away. So in this piece, you first hear that melody pop in, and you keep on hearing it closer and closer. You hear like the camels or other exotic animals a part of that group. And they come through the town, and they go back, and then they go off, and you see in the distance. You also hear that memory, that recollection as the two melodies blend and collide together. It's a very beautiful piece. I'm grateful I got to play it.
It's always nice when we have these guys introduce the pieces, and so that was a retrospective of what you just heard in the beginning. You can hear them okay. We're trying to have everyone speak a little slower because we get like hyper as musicians and speak too fast. So make sure you guys slow it down a little bit. I want to welcome you here. First and foremost, we're so grateful to be in this space, this amazing tabernacle that is historical, it's cultural, it's got heritage, and it brings together so many worlds who would not be able to be together were it not for this space. So grateful to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and all the people you see here are volunteer. They treat us so well, they're so welcoming, and we feel really comfortable. This is kind of a yearly home for the Utah Youth Orchestras. It's quite nice. I want to thank you, friends and family, for being here. I grew up playing. It is a sacrifice sometimes to procure an instrument for your kids and your friends, get them to lessons, get them to rehearsals. You are providing such a beautiful space of beauty in the world that is absolutely irreplaceable and completely memorable. The students here are building their own community, their own voice, their friendships. They're strengthening their skills of concentration and pushing so hard because Utah Youth plays the real stuff. We play everything the Utah Symphony plays, so there's no simplifications, and they work so hard and stretch so much. It's great playing in this space, and it's very challenging, so I'm very proud of them for just jumping right in. But you help us with our motto: seek beauty, create harmony, scatter joy. So thank you for helping us with that. If you look at the program, I just want you to eyeball the board that we have. This is really wonderful people. Our sponsors are amazing. If you want to be part of that family, you can just jump in and support us and be with us. Everything is so important. Two more things. The seating is very unusual in this orchestra because there's really no designated leadership because everyone gets a chance to be a leader. I encourage rotation, so you'll see some very experienced players in the back and some newer players in the front, and that's how it should be, to have that sense of joining together and strengthening each other. They're so kind to each other. They're really good friends. They help each other. There's no wrong question, and it's a joy to be with them. The mentors that we have, so this is something pretty exciting. We have people, actually Ben Clausen over there is an alum. His name wasn't on the program. He's just back from Philadelphia. Sometimes they want to come and jam with us, so I'm very okay with that. But it's like if you went to your job and one of the greats in the world of your profession sat with you all day at work, but they were kind, they were interesting, they had great ideas for you, they encouraged you. So these are our wonderful mentors. I'm really grateful to them. When we graduate 50 seniors in a year, you have to build again. So our orchestra is also about building and building and building. Last year we graduated 50, and the year before that we graduated 50. So it's a very exciting time. Again, thank you so much. We're going to play Dvorak 8 for you now, and 2 of the students will come and present explain the first 2 movements, and then we'll carry on. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Wartha, and I'd like to share a few things about this amazing composer, Dvorak. He composed and orchestrated the symphony within 2.5 months, period from August 26th to November 8th, 1889, at his summer resort in Bohemia. And he orchestrated this to be different from Symphony Number 7. And one of his comments that he said in Symphony Number 8, that he wanted this symphony to be a little different from all kinds of symphonies that he wrote. And I enjoyed playing this wonderful piece from Dvorak. And I hope you guys will enjoy it too. Enjoy.
Hi, my name is William Macmillan. I'm 13 years old. I play the violin, and I just wanted to say something about the second movement of Dvorak. So the second movement of Dvorak is basically set on, so it's basically been about a beautiful summer day, but it's interrupted by a thunderstorm later on. And what I really like about it is the Addams theme, like the Addams Family theme in a section of it, with the horns doing the snaps. So I really hope you like the second movement as well. So yeah, enjoy the first.
Wait, let's see. Good evening, everyone. I'm Amelia, and I play viola. And the third movement is really special to me because it has so much flow. The melodies are so soaring, and it's very melodic. And it just has this constant movement. It doesn't have the typical, lots of movement and then calm, and then lots of movement. For the most part, it stays very steady, and it just flows, and it's all of these very beautiful melodies. But then at the end, you get surprised a bit, and we have this coda that's completely different, and it's exciting, and it's engaging. It's a little sneaky because it was a surprise, and it ends on a completely different note. So that's why I love it. I hope you enjoy.
Hello, my name is Alyssa White. I play cello. I like the fourth movement because it's the finale and it brings everything together. It's really fun to play because the cello part you get to kind of it's like a range of going from not playing super sorry, I'm not good in front of big crowds. But so it's you play softly, but then it ranges to loud and kind of goes between those, and it's just really fun to play. The bows and everything, and the notes, and how everything just meshes together is really fun. I hope you enjoy the rest of the music. Good evening.
So this is all about experience, right? And when you all arrived, the acoustics changed and it got a lot warmer. So we're going to have one more A because the instruments change radically with heat and stuff. And so if you go to the symphony, you'll hear somebody squeaking a little A to make sure that they've adjusted well. So we're going to have a couple more A's, and then we'll play the third and fourth movement.